Welcome back to Go Gaddis Real Estate Radio right here on AM 920. Very special segment, very special guest. We've got Melanie Connor, who is the CEO of Rainbow Village, and we're having a discussion on homelessness right here in Metro Atlanta. Let me just kind of set it up if you weren't with us in the last segment. Rainbow Village has been around. How long has Rainbow Village been around? I don't even know when it was founded.
We were founded in 1991.
1991, so that's 26 plus 9, that's 35 years. Wow.
Yeah.
35 years, that's amazing. And they basically take families, not individuals, but I think families who are experiencing homelessness, in many cases not caused by something that they've done, and they're not only providing them with housing, which is amazing. It's right there at the intersection of Buford Highway and 120. For anybody who wants to go see it, you'll notice their site because it is the one that has the disturbed acre-ish or whatever it is where they're building, what'd you say, 36 more apartments there? So you have 30, and you're building 36 more?
Yes, we're going to more than double.
Wow. But providing someone housing is you've said to me very specifically, that's not enough. That kind of gets them stable where we can deal with all of the other things. But let's talk about what those other things are that must be dealt with when a person's homeless or a family.
Yeah, so, a lot of people bring up mental health issues and domestic violence is a huge one as well. Which really kind of grew during the pandemic. If you were already in a bad situation, it became worse when people were forced to be in the homes together for small periods of time.
Yep.
But then the trauma that is caused by not having a place to live. If you can imagine, you said you've never been homeless, neither have I. But, when I go and walk the dog, I come back into a very nice, warm home. I can make breakfast. I can do all those things. Imagine not having any of that. Imagine not being able to do that every single day.
No.
And having to figure out where you're going to eat and where you're going to sleep and taking care of your kids on top of that.
On top of that. And what I thought, you said, hey, I can come back and I can make a little breakfast or food or whatever you said. But these homeless situations probably start where for a while they don't have the food to eat. And they've got kids, and it's oh wow, it's amazing. So okay, what are all of the other things? You get them into housing, and what are the other things that you do to help get them back on track so that they can
So, first we got to deal with the trauma, because you can't really help somebody if they're still
in their car.
Stressed. So once we get them housed, the other things that we do is try and identify. We work primarily in 5 areas. So we look at their mental health, we look at their career, education, and their finances, and just the family well-being. Are the kids okay? Are the kids in school? Have they been able to go because you've been moving from one place to the other? We look at, again, their well-being, both physical and mental, because, again, if you can't pay for someplace to live, you're probably not going to the doctor regularly. You're not doing your checkups and all those kinds of things. You're going to the emergency room because that's the only place that you can go and afford to go.
And probably not eating well at all, because you can't afford food that's actually good for you. All you can afford is crap.
Right, because that's cheap.
Cheap. Yeah.
And so, at least somewhat.
Well, yeah. Sorry, cheaper than the good stuff. Nothing's cheap anymore. Thank you.
But yeah, so dealing with all of those things, but one at a time. So when we come in, the success coaches, our case managers, work with the family to identify, well, what's the first area we need to deal with, because everybody comes in a different place. We can't just bring everybody in and say, okay, let's work on your finances, because maybe finances isn't their number one issue. We really need to deal with their well-being, or we need to deal with some issues with the kids, or we need to deal with something else. They're having struggles on their job, whatever it is. So how do we deal with those things first, and then create a plan for them over the period of time that they're there with us to help them get ahead?
And how do you sort of get to the bottom of these things? Because I'm sitting there thinking, okay, you kind of as a independent third party have to be analyzing someone to try to figure out what their problem is. And I don't know if you've ever met any of the people that I've met, but a lot of them don't like to really tell the truth about what's going on in their lives. So what's the process for getting to it? Because that's got to be an art.
Yeah, it is. So, one of the things that we do is we require them to have a mental health assessment coming in. So we have professional licensed counselors who are, like I said, nobody likes to tell it. Nobody does. I wouldn't want to go tell all of my business either. But.
Right. We're going to get into your business toward the end of the segment. Don't worry. I've saved time. No, I'm kidding.
But they're trained to pull out some of that
Okay.
information from the individuals. And oftentimes, Cleve, people do want to talk. They just want to have somebody that they feel they can
Safe.
trust.
Safe. They
Yeah.
need, okay, that
And
makes
to say,
sense.
this is where I am. This
Yep.
is what's happening with me.
I bet in some ways it's like a release. It's like a relief when they let it out and kind of get it out there. They're like, oh my gosh, now I can at least relax for just a second. Phew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then those success coaches are working with them on a regular basis as well and continuing to kind of peel back the onion a little bit at a time and identify what those needs are. And then we ask them because oftentimes people know what they need to do. You just don't always know how to do it. It's like I tell people, like if you want to lose weight, you know what you need to do, but it's hard to do
To
it,
do it.
right? Without some help and guidance and all of that.
Uh-huh. And so you have therapists, if you will, who do some analysis when they come in, and then what did you say? You have a success coach? Is that what you call them?
Success coaches, yep,
So,
that work with them ongoing. And then the counselors continue to work with them as well. So we have
they meet with them regularly.
funds set aside so that they can continue. Some do weekly counseling sessions, some every other week, and some monthly counseling sessions so they can continue that.
Well, I want to come back to that in just a second because I want to continue on with that discussion because I really want to talk about what it looks like to graduate. Graduate to me almost seems like the wrong word to use, but that's the word I'm going to use. Maybe you guys call it graduation. But if I were a realtor, I am a realtor, but if I was a realtor and I was listening to this segment on this Saturday, how could I support the cause, even if I don't necessarily have any money to give? What could I do to help support your cause?
Yeah, so first of all, I want to say, our folks that move beyond the village, that's how I usually put it. They
Okay.
leave Rainbow Village and they move beyond the village. They've done some phenomenal things. Many of them actually purchased a home,
Okay.
which is an amazing thing for them to go from homelessness to home ownership.
Yeah.
We have a young lady right now who's about to get a Habitat house. She'll be moving in the next few months. We've had some. We work directly with realtors, so this is one thing realtors can do with us. Work directly with realtors for those who we have worked with to get their credit rates up. They have money for down payment. They're first-time homeowners, so they'll qualify for a lot of those kinds of things. By helping them with those kinds of things and coming in, if you're talking about not having money, we have realtors come in and talk to the families about, okay, you want to buy a house? Here's what's going to need to happen in order for you to do that. It's good for them to hear that from somebody other than us.
Yes.
First of all. And then the other things really is, realtors can always advocate for affordable housing. I know there may feel like there are limited things that they can do, but there are opportunities to, advocate for affordable housing, partner with nonprofits like Rainbow Village and others to support housing stability and find out what's really going on and learn more about the people who are trying to obtain housing, educating their clients about the reality of homelessness. That like what you guys do a lot of times, just from the sale of a home, putting aside a small amount that could then go to a nonprofit like Rainbow Village and others to support the work that we're doing so that we can continue to do this. So those are things that are tangible and helpful for the nonprofit, helpful for the families, and beneficial for the folks that participate in it as well.
And when would a realtor just go to, and it doesn't have to be a realtor, it could be just a real estate agent. I shouldn't say just a real estate agent. That sounds disrespectful. They're not a member of the National Association of Realtors. They would just go to rainbowvillage.org, maybe click on a contact us page or something like that,
Yes.
and say, hey, here's who I am, and I'm looking for ways to help. So if you are listening and you want to donate some money or donate some time, or you're a real estate agent and you want to be, what did we call those? We used to call those bird dogs that were out looking for things and helping people with opportunities.
Yeah.
Just go to rainbowvillage.org. I want to circle back, if we can, to what does it look like to graduate? So how long is a person typically in your program? And I know it can vary, but how do you know when it's time for them to graduate and for them to be able to move on?
Families can stay with us for up to 2 years. Right now, generally they're staying about that long.
Okay.
Because it takes us a little while to, it may take 3 months or so for them to just kind of breathe and then be ready to do the things that need to be done. And then after that, that's in our Aspire program. So that's the housing program on our campus. The Thrive program is where we continue to follow them after they leave us for 1 to 3 years.
Wow.
So we want to make sure that what we're doing with them, the work that we've done, is actually still ingrained. And it's almost like when if your kid grows up and moves out, you don't just say, okay, well, 18 years, I got you, and then you go figure it out the rest of the way. I've taught you everything I can. So they still need help when they move out. So with the Thrive program, we continue to subsidize their rent just a little bit if we need to help them get used to paying, because they do pay rent with us, but it's very low.
Right.
But to get them ready for market rate rent, and then also to continue to give them that support that they need, because really, a lot of times when they move out, that's when they really need the support. It's kind of like when you get ready to move out of your parents' house, you're like, I can't wait to get out of here. I don't need these people. And then you get out there and you're like, oh my God.
Uh-oh.
Adult is hard.
Yeah, I do need these. I do need these people. This is a hard thing. And you really said something that landed very, very hard with me. And it's not just in this situation that it's important, but as people are growing and developing, they need continued support along the way. Even if it's just a check-in, are we all good? Do you feel like you've got any roadblocks coming in the future? And so this is just not something that Rainbow Village needs to do. It's what we need to do as parents. It's what we need to do as leaders at work, and not do it for them, because you're letting them do everything on their own. You're just kind of shepherding them through the process. So real quickly, we've got about a minute left. Do you have a success story, something that, a family that's come through your program that just absolutely warmed your heart that you could share in 40 seconds?
Yeah, I can tell. So, young lady who has two of the cutest little boys ever.
Okay.
She came to the program, had some situation with her partner, who he passed away, and again, she couldn't afford to maintain the household alone. The two little boys that she has, they're actually her sister's children.
Oh, wow.
Sister died, and she took them on.
Oh, gee.
And so it was a lot for her to take on, had never been a mom before, all of that. But she came to the program, and she's come back since to be able to share with the families her experience. She had the opportunity to save $20,000 while she was in our program.
Wow.
She had the opportunity she actually got a better paying job. So she got a job making, I think, about $65,000. She qualified for the purchase of a home, but she decided that maybe buying a house right now is not the best thing for me financially. Wow. And so she qualified and everything, but she stepped away from that, and then she qualified for a Habitat home. And so the Habitat home actually ended up being a much better situation for her. So she bettered her employment. She increased her income. She increased her credit score. She now and her two little boys have a brand new home that they'll be moving into, and it's just giving her the opportunity to go through our program is what helped her to be able to do that.
What an amazing success story. Melanie, thank you so much for being with us today. If you are interested in supporting Rainbow Village, it's rainbowvillage.org. We're going to take a break. When we come back in our next segment, in our neighborhood spotlight, we have Avocet in Peachtree Corners. We're going to also talk about Peachtree Corners becoming a city. Has that been good or has that been bad? And believe it or not, a very, very significant piece of Southern rock history just hit the market for sale here in Metro Atlanta. Stick with us. We'll be back.